All right, back on the CRX today. It's been a minute since I've worked on this thing, but we are right at the end of the year, and I'd really like to get it going again before the new year starts. While I haven't been doing a lot of just assembly labor on this car, getting it back together since the last episode, what I have been doing is designing and making new products for this car. So in this episode, I'm going to go over some of those new products that I've already made, some of the new products that are still in development, and then I'm going to dive into the wiring on it today because while the car was running when I took it apart, the wiring was kind of a mess. And when I do an engine swap like this, I really like to clean up how the wiring is routed. Because the CRX has such a small engine bay, it becomes very cluttered very quickly. And one of the easiest ways to make the engine bay look nice is to sort of tuck the wiring and remove some of the wiring that's unnecessary. So what I'm going to be doing today with the wiring is relocating the fuse box underneath the dash and then rerouting the headlight harnesses inside the fender wells instead of on top of the shock towers, how it is from the factory. So I'm going to get started by showing you some of the new billet products that I've already made and going into some of the new billet products that are going to be made. In the last episode, we basically just got the engine dropped back in after making our custom engine mounts. But since then, I've done a little bit of work, sort of nitpicking here and there, getting things put back together. I repainted the cowl and got the cowl reinstalled, repainted the brake booster, and that's loosely put into place. The suspension is mostly put back together. I cleaned up and reinstalled the wiper motor, the evap canister, and just some other miscellaneous things here and there. But what I have been working on are some new billet parts for this thing. Well, you guys have already seen the EF fuel rail that I was working on. That's installed now. Another thing that I started working on was a block-off plate for the fast idle valve. So normally there is a temperature activated valve that bolts underneath the throttle body here on OBD0 intake manifolds, and that just allows the idle to be raised while the engine is cold. The problem is that it is not attractive. So I wanted to remove it and block it off with this idle plate. So this plate is a new product that we offer, and that's installed already. The next product that I've been working on is our B-Series billet upper alternator bracket. So these engines either come with a stamped steel bracket or a cast steel bracket. This engine, the first generation B16, had a cast steel bracket on there. And so I wanted to make something that looked a little bit nicer. And so I designed a billet version in aluminum that was machined and installed already. Those are actually already available on the website. For a couple years now, we've offered our B-Series spark plug covers and our upper radiator brackets for the EF chassis. One new product that I've been working on and have already released is a billet aluminum lower radiator mount. After 30 plus years, these lower bushings are usually pretty much trash. And so instead of trying to source some new ones, I decided it would be an easy option to just sort of machine a small billet bracket that mounts the bottom of the radiator. I've included a high temperature silicone bushing that goes in the bottom of it, so it will be able to withstand all of the heat from the radiator. So at this point with the wiring, all that I've really done is sort of stripped the harness, pulled everything inside the car, including this fuse box, and I also stripped apart the engine wiring harness. And so what I need to do today is I need to mount this fuse box. I need to clean up the wiring inside of the car here. I need to extend a few wires for the headlight harness, mount the headlight harness under the fender well up into the headlights, and then I need to lay the de-loomed engine harness back on the engine, do some simplification, get it so that it fits the way that I like, and then relume it and get it back together. So that's actually quite a few things that need to get done, so let's get started. So here's the engine harness after I pretty much de-loomed everything. So since this car was swapped before I bought it, I knew that there was going to be some stuff going on in the engine harness here. And I've seen some really bad wiring jobs on engine swaps in these cars, and this one honestly is not even that bad. So because this car was an HF, it already had 4 fuel injectors, so they didn't have to do the dual point to the multi-point conversion. But it seems like what they have done is sort of moved around the injector resistor box. They've got some crimp connectors and some wires extending it away from the engine. There's only a couple of other small issues that's going on here. Some of the wiring is brittle, some of the plugs are damaged. There are some other weird soldered crimp connections randomly throughout the harness. All of the plugs are, pretty gross, so I'm going to probably depin a lot of these and clean them, put them back together. But this is sort of where it starts when it comes to going back in and fixing sort of somebody else's engine swap. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just clip off this resistor box because this is going to be banging around the engine bay. I'm probably going to relocate that anyway, so none of this wiring is going to stay. It's all going to be either extended or shortened as needed. I'm going to lay this engine harness back on the engine and just sort of route the wiring exactly how I want it to go so that it fits nice and tight. That way I can bring it back over to the bench and I can clean up all of the things that are messed up and re-lume it again before I put it back on the engine. I'm just sort of doing a loose layout of the wiring harness here. Normally the harness doesn't go inside the car there. It comes up the strut tower up onto where the fuse box is located, onto a little junction right here. The wiring harness then goes down, across, over the radiator hoses, under the distributor, and then back up over here. Some of it splits and goes over the top of the fuel injectors. Some of it goes under the intake manifold. But because I'm trying to clean this up, I'm going to route everything that goes under the intake manifold, including the injector plugs, underneath the thermostat housing, up under the intake manifold there where you can't see it. The front of the wiring harness is going to go underneath the thermostat housing as well, just underneath the lower radiator hose. And then all of this is going to get cleaned up, de-lumed, taped back together nicely so that it can tuck up underneath the cylinder head here, underneath these coolant sensors. So day 2 of working on this thing, I have officially done all of the chassis wiring and the engine wiring is completed. The fuse box is all finished inside the car. I did a terrible job of documenting all of that. I did take a couple of pictures and I'll show you kind of how everything's routed now. Today's goal is to get this thing fired up. Now it looks like I'm getting pretty close, but there still is a lot of things to do. For one, the whole fuel system needs to be connected. I don't have any fuel lines. I'm relocating the fuel filter, so the fuel lines need to be done. There's a couple of coolant hoses that are still not connected that need to be connected. I need to run to the parts store because the upper radiator hose that was on here is way too large for the hose ends on the engine and the radiator. I need to do an oil pan gasket because the oil pan's pretty smashed on this thing. I want to be able to smash it back out again, reseal the oil pan, hook up the shift linkage. I'm going to put a high temp paint on the header before I put it back on, put the header back on, connect the exhaust, distributor wires, reseal the valve cover, you know, just a few small things. So this is probably going to be a most of the day job, but I'm hoping at the end of this day, this car will be running again. All right, so for today, the car's back up on the lift to get it going again. Because it's on the lift, I can't really open that door and show you the wiring I did on the fuse box and stuff. I'll show you that later once the car's off the lift. But the wiring that I did do on the chassis harness is done and I can show you all of that. So the headlight harnesses, there's normally a engine connector here and the headlight wiring runs underneath that connector, runs over this fender well alongside the airbox. The AC fan relay is here and there's a big ground that goes here. And then everything runs to the headlights and then over to the radiator. But that stuff's ugly, so I wanted to hide it. So it's been re-lumed, routed underneath the frame rail here. The windshield wiper motor was also rerouted up underneath the brake lines. Here's that headlight harness underneath. It's attached to the body of the car with little cushion clamps into holes. Well, this hole was already threaded. That was a through hole, so it's a nut and bolt. And then as I got down to the frame rail, I remounted the ground and the fan relay. Remember to sand off the paint in the areas that you put your ground. The fan switch wiring, or sorry, the fan connector that goes under the frame rail now used to come out of the harness about here. So I actually had to de-lume everything and then pull the wiring, which it's coming from this relay. So it actually had plenty of wire. I didn't have to extend anything. Re-lumed it again and then rerouted it underneath. Now the headlight wires are down here, which aren't going to reach the headlights, which isn't a problem because I actually ordered single bulb headlights for this and I'm going to be using a conversion harness. So the conversion harness has its own relay, which is also going to mount underneath the headlight here, plug into these headlight connectors, and it has its own loom that goes up into the headlights. So it's the same on both sides. Sort of same deal here. The harness comes out the firewall there. And instead of, normally the harness routes up along the fender, down, around behind the headlights, same thing. Now it just goes down back behind the alternator, under the frame rail, and we've got the same thing here. So we got the cushion clamps holding it, and we've got our ground, which is grounded onto the body of the car here. And again, These are the corner lights, but the headlight wiring is all short, but it's going to be using the single bulb headlight and the conversion harness, so I don't care. So now here's the firewall connector. I used the original engine harness grommet here, and I just sort of wrapped it around everything that was coming out of there. The engine harness is all finished, attached. Got the starter wire also running with the engine harness. All the connectors are connected. TPS, idle valve. Some things I gotta go get to the parts store today. Since I deleted the cold start or the fast idle valve, I wanna bypass everything on the throttle body now. So this coolant hose that comes off the intake manifold, I'm just gonna run a hose directly from that all the way underneath to the front side of the idle air control valve, which will eliminate this little loopy hose here that goes under the throttle body. And I'll probably just cap these off if I can't remove them. Yesterday I finished up all the wiring, the fuel system, I got the intake back together, and I was just waiting for some RTV to seal on the oil pan and the valve cover so that I could finally get this thing running. So today is the day that it actually starts and runs, assuming I did everything correctly. So let me show you all the final little last details that I completed before we start the car. The fuel system is now done with the new prototype JSP fuel rail. Off the driver's side is a -6AN 90-degree fitting off of the fuel pressure regulator, which is stock. It's just the standard 1/4-inch hose that goes back into the gas tank. Underneath the intake manifold, I've mounted a small -6 fuel filter to get rid of the large fuel filter that's normally over here on the firewall. Overall, the look of the fuel rail is pretty much exactly what I wanted. I wanted to eliminate the fuel feed from this side that normally runs around the intake manifold this direction to the fuel filter. So I'm able to cap off this end, still have the fuel pressure regulator in the OEM location, and then I was able to convert to the -6AN on the driver's side. So it kind of cleans up this area right here, gets rid of some stuff. For right now, I've just installed the factory air box. I do plan on making an aluminum tube that replaces this rubber hose. And it's not just because I want it to look cooler, but this is actually the single cam hose here that connects to the throttle body. So it's actually a bit undersized. If you look at the size of the air box here, it's about 3 inches, and then it chokes down to about 2.5 inches here. So what I'm gonna do probably in the next video is I'm gonna actually shorten the air box here, somewhere like that, put a silicone coupler, make an aluminum tube, and another coupler that goes to the throttle body. But for now, so we can get the car back together and back on the road, I just put the stock air box back on. OBD0 cars normally have the map sensor and the evap purge solenoid mounted right here on the firewall, and it's a little bit of an eyesore. So those two are now mounted underneath the dash, and the vacuum hose routing now runs from the throttle body to the evap canister and then down underneath and through the bulkhead of the firewall inside the car. So that's all completed as well, so that the evap purge is going to work correctly. That's just something that happens when you get old, is you don't like the smell of gas in your car anymore. When you're younger, you just pull this out. Lastly, the brake booster hose, I just used a -6AN braided line off of the booster. The booster was flipped upside down when I put it back in so that the hose could be down at the bottom. It's normally over here and then routes up and over the top. So this fitting on the back of the intake manifold is just rotated around, and it has that -6AN braided line. It goes under the manifold. I have the check valve mounted underneath the intake manifold, and then it comes back out and around and back into the booster. So from the front of the car, normally right here, you would see a booster line that goes up and then over the booster, and that's no longer there. So it removes sort of the visual eyesores that are above the intake manifold against the firewall. So now with the map sensor gone and those lines gone, this whole area is now clear and just has a white background against the engine, which makes the engine bay look nicer. I mentioned earlier some new products that I'm working on for this chassis that I haven't shown you yet. And one of those products is actually going to be this steel bracket that holds the clutch cable. So I've just thrown this dirty old one back on temporarily to get the car driving. And I've got this ground wire here that's going to be done a little bit nicer. But what I am going to be making is, this is a 3D printed prototype. I'm going to be making a billet bracket that replaces that steel bracket. And it's not just for the cosmetic upgrade of the aluminum and having it shiny like engine mounts and other parts. These are actually pretty prone to breaking once you start putting a heavy clutch in them. So what the new billet bracket is going to do is it's going to actually be quite a bit stronger than the steel bracket. This one I'm holding here is actually not even the final version. The final version is even thicker than this. but those are going to be released, I'm hoping, in January. I actually have all the material here and all the programming is finished. I just need to find time to get it up on the machines. So with all that said, let's make sure this thing runs before we get any further in the project. Well, that's a pretty good sign. Anytime I start a car after it's been apart for a long time, the first thing you're going to check, obviously, is to make sure that the oil light goes off in the dash to make sure you have oil pressure. The second thing you're going to start looking for is any leaks, things that are on the ground. And third, you're going to start looking for any signs of smoke or things that are burning. So I'm just going to look around the engine while it begins to warm up. Now that I know that the car runs, I can go back and I can check the oil, I can top off the coolant, I can finish off any small little details that I might have missed. But in the meantime, I'm actually just waiting for some headlights to arrive so I can put this front end back together. They're going to be here next week, and then I will come back and I will film another video of putting the front end back together, because now that the car is driving again, we can finally start on the bodywork and the outside of the car. But that's in the next episode.